Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. We begin today with the politics lead. A significant development today as House Democrats take a major step towards launching an impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Today, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the House, Congressman Jerry Nadler, filed a lawsuit to try to get access to secret grand jury material from former special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, including interviews with key associates of President Trump. Nadler insists that information will help inform Democrats on whether to introduce articles of impeachment in Congress. This all comes as Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reiterated today that Democrats will only move forward on impeachment based on the facts and the law. She insisted she's not trying to run out the clock, though she is opposed as of now to impeachment. CNN's Sunlen Serfati starts us off today from the Capitol Hill on this very public Democratic divide.
Significant development from the House Judiciary Committee today, taking a big step forward toward opening up an impeachment inquiry.
You're saying there's no difference between what you're doing now and an impeachment inquiry, correct?
In effect, we are going to see what remedies we could recommend, including the possibility of articles of impeachment.
The chairman now openly threatening impeachment proceedings.
The House must have access to all the relevant facts and consider whether to exercise its full Article 1 powers.
Spelling it out for the first time today in their court suit to get the grand jury material from Robert Mueller's report, while also readying a second court case to compel former White House counsel Don McGahn to comply with his subpoena.
This court filing is the first time that you're seeing us telegraph to the court that one of the remedies we have is impeachment.
I would say we are in an impeachment investigation.
This comes as now 100 Democrats support opening up an impeachment inquiry. And as some are growing impatient with Speaker Pelosi's approach, worried the window for starting impeachment proceedings may be closing.
No, I'm not trying to run out of the clock. We will proceed when we have what we need to proceed, not one day sooner.
But pressure is coming behind closed doors from even her top deputies, like Chairman Nadler, who has pleaded with Pelosi privately to allow him to lean into impeachment.
We may decide to recommend articles of impeachment at some point. We may not. That remains to be seen. And there's no point speculating on whether the Speaker or anybody else will agree with our decision at that point.
Meantime, Pelosi today also trying to minimize another rift with a fellow Democrat.
I don't think there ever was any hatchet.
Meeting one-on-one with progressive freshman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for the first time in months.
I've always felt, again, it's like you're in a family. In a family, you have your differences, but you're still a family.
After the two have been openly feuding in public.
Looking forward to us continuing our work. As always, I think the Speaker respects the fact that we're coming together as a party.
And Democratic aides on the House Judiciary Committee say that the House does not need to formally open up an impeachment inquiry for the committee to investigate whether to consider articles of impeachment. So essentially, Jake, they are already conducting an investigation into exactly that. Jake. All
right, Sunlen Serfati on Capitol Hill. Let's chew over all of this. Paul Begala, let me start with you. 100 Democrats in the House support impeachment, according to CNN's count. That's about 43% of the Democrats in the House. Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler is now going to court to try to get more material from the grand jury. Take a listen to what he had to say today.
I believe that the hearing with Director Mueller was an inflection point. We are considering the malfeasances of the president. We're considering what remedies we can do, including the possibility of articles of impeachment.
Paul, so he called it an inflection point. I don't know if I would use that term. 100 Democrats support impeachment as of now in the House. I think it was about the high 80s before Mueller spoke. So about a dozen have joined the call. That's not a stampede to impeachment.
And 100 support, 135 don't.
Right, exactly.
So it's a long way to Tipperary. You got to get to 218. And I don't think that that's an inflection point with respect to the chairman, who, by the way, I think did a terrific job running the hearing. People have criticized the optics of Mr. Mueller, whatever that means.
Not on this network.
Chairman Nadler, good. Chairman Nadler, I thought, did a terrific job of running a professional and serious hearing. This is what I think will be not just an inflection point, but a turning point. The Democrats, Mr. Nadler, they're going to the courts now to try to get grand jury information. That's not suing Donald Trump. That's just trying to get material for Mueller. Mm-hmm. They're also in court trying to compel testimony, the production of witnesses, and evidence. If President Trump is ordered by a court to comply, the way Nixon was, the way Clinton, we never took it to court, so I shouldn't say that. But if he defies a court order, that will trigger impeachment. I don't support impeachment. If the President of the United States tells the courts and the Congress to go pound sand, then I think there will be an inflection point.
But Amanda, let me ask you, if you're in Congress and you don't support impeachment after the Mueller report, you don't support impeachment after Mueller's testimony, what could be in the grand jury materials that would make you want to support impeachment?
I mean, it feels like they're looking for a smoking gun that will sway public opinion. And they have the information. They keep talking about obstruction. The public doesn't really understand what obstruction is. I think, they can make a case there. They know the president lied. They know you can't trust him. But if you are going to remove a president from office, you have to raise the bar. They should be able to look into the camera and say, President Trump warrants impeachment because of his embrace of illegally obtained information from our foreign adversaries poses unacceptable risks to our elections and national security. That might meet the bar, but unless they can look at the camera and say it and believe it, walk away.
Well,
that's better. That's like, save that tape, Democrats. Go back as a Republican.
What do you think? What is holding Democrats back? Is it pure politics? They're afraid it will hurt them in 2020 at the polls?
Well, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has been fairly open in stating that she thinks impeachment is politically divisive, that it does play into the president's hands as he gears up for re-election. But they're also making the case that they really want to be able to examine all of the evidence. And because they only had a redacted version of the Mueller report, they are now trying to seek that grand jury information. They have some more questions, for example, about Paul Manafort having exchanged internal polling data with Konstantin Kilimnik. And they also want to hear from Don McGahn, the former White House counsel, who really was the star witness for Mueller and his team. But to Amanda's point,
on the obstruction
charges. To Amanda's point, the question is, when you have this 448-page report that lays out first some of the coordination between the Trump campaign and Moscow that did not rise to criminal conspiracy, or Mueller did not find evidence to establish a criminal conspiracy, but it did create this through line of Russian interference, the Trump campaign being receptive to that interference, multiple Trump associates pleading guilty to and being convicted of lying to the FBI about contacts with the Russians, and then the president trying to impede this investigation. If that's not enough, then what is? That's the question that these 100 or so Democrats are asking. Certainly a growing significant faction of the Democratic base is asking. If Democrats don't pursue impeachment, then are they then normalizing that behavior? And that's really the challenge that they face politically.